So this is a reading I did for myself after I had a dream. Um, this morning I sent my kids on the bus. The bus comes by pretty early. So after they took off, I decided to go back to bed for just a little bit more and probably slept for maybe another hour. But while I didn't fall asleep, I had a dream. I was dreaming I was at work at an event. So we're in the ballroom. There's a bunch of people there attending our event. And then we're going to break for lunch. So I've kind of sent everybody out and I was locking the door. And as I came out, I came across my husband and my two boys. And then I was in the little store kind of finding something to eat. And then I was like, oh, hi, guys. And then I was giving them hugs and kisses, or trying to. My oldest wouldn't let me. He'd kind of back away, no, don't kiss me in public, which, preteen. Um, and then, but he was being a little bit rude about it. My husband was laughing, and I was like, stop, like, he's being disrespectful. You gotta back me up. And then my lunch was over, and I said, okay, well, I'm gonna have to go. So hugged and kissed everybody again, and then I was leaving, going back into the ballroom. And when I get to the ballroom, I was all alone in there. And that's when I noticed that there was this tiny child following me, kind of running after me. And at that time, I just knew that that kid had been there the whole time, and I just hadn't noticed him. And when he would catch up to me, he would grab me by the legs and start kissing my knees, because that was how tall he was. He was just very small. But I never saw his face, and I'm saying I had a sense it was a boy, but I never saw his face, just the top of his head. And when he caught up to me and he's grabbing my legs and he's giving me kisses, in my dream I just said, oh my God, honey, I'm so sorry, I never noticed you were there. And then I sat down in front of him and I started kissing his head, and he kept kissing my legs, and you could just feel the love from that exchange. And as soon as I saw this kid too, I just knew that I loved this child. And then I woke up, and I remember waking up thinking to myself, who was that third kid? And then right away I thought of my miscarriage that I had when I um, first got my first pregnancy. And when I first got pregnant, I mean, I was so excited about it. We were trying to get pregnant, and I just shouted it to the world. Everybody knew. And within that week, or during that week, I started having bleedings again, and then I had a miscarriage. I mean, I did feel the loss of that child, although, I mean, as far as I knew, I was pregnant for a week. So, and I felt that maybe that was that child reaching out to me in that dream. So I grabbed the pendulum and I asked if this was more than a dream, and it said yes. And then I asked if it was that child visiting me, and it said yes. So I decided to do a Hello from Heaven spread just about that dream and see what that had to say. So for this reading, I used the Green Witch Tarot cards. And this is the Hello from Heaven spread. So the first card here is the main theme. And then the card across from it is the main challenge. Then we have how you connected. The fourth card is the karma you collected. And then we have the how you did. And then how the deceased sees you now. We have how they did, what is left to transform, and what gift you get to keep. So before I start this reading, I would just like to do a quick prayer. I call upon my angels and my guides to please provide me with a clear and accurate reading. I also call upon Archangel Michael to please protect this reading in white light so that only divine messages may come through. Okay, so the first card that I got was the Ace of Wands. Now, with the Green Witch Tarot, each card has an herb and an animal assigned to it too, so I'll be sharing that throughout the reading. So for this one, we have the cherries. Cherries talks about hope, creativity, and expectation. And the animal that we see is a bird. It's the wren, and it talks about activation, adaptability, and confidence. This card talks about new career start, new initiative, new project, which I think is kind of funny, mostly since my dream had taken place in my place of work, which is a new path for me. So I kind of see it that's, that was the theme, that's where it took place. Um, the second card that I got, which would have been the main challenge, and for that one, we've got the Horned God reversed. So this one here, the plant that's associated with this card is the wild bergamot, and it talks about authority, power, fertility, energy. And then the animal is the raven, which talks about message, guardianship, growth, and guidance. Now this was in a reverse situation, and it talks about bureaucracy, inflexibility, indecision, being petty. Now, when I saw the meaning for the men, I'm kind of sensing that this is the souls reaching out to me as a message, as to provide guidance. And in this reverse situation, now I've been doing a few other readings too, and then a lot of times the message that I get that comes across is there is something on my work side that I'm avoiding. I'm not putting the effort into it and I knew what this is, and I just keep getting distracted anyways. And I think it's kind of bringing that to me. It's kind of saying, okay, you need to pay attention to this. I had done another reading on this particular subject here as well. Which had more to do with the dream, confusing dream spread. And that one was talking more about the message, about making sure I pay attention to this and to quit ignoring it. So that's what I'll take for this card to mean. Now, the third card that we have here, and this one talks about how we connected. And for this card, I get the Nine of Chalice reversed. So now the bay leaf is the plant that's associated with this, and it talks about wishes granted, promotion, divination, and the animal is the ladybug, and the ladybug talks about good luck, wishes, happiness, divination. But in this case, this card is in the reverse situation. And this card in the reverse situation talks more about poor choices, selfish desires, irresponsibility, self-indulgence, and complacency. Now, I was a little confused about that being our connection card, and then I thought to myself, maybe this soul is explaining himself as to why he didn't come to term, why he wasn't born. And when I thought that thought that maybe this was this soul's explaining himself, I had a pen sitting on the table that started to move a little bit as if it had been tapped, although I hadn't touched it. So I took that as confirmation that that is what this card is meaning. Not too long ago, I had someone share their view on a child or an abortion or a miscarriage, I guess a miscarriage. And it said that it's almost like the soul getting cold feet. They've put their life together, they're kind of going forward with it, and then it just don't feel quite right. They just don't seem, it's like, nah, you know what, I'm not quite ready for this, I need to plan this some more, and they back out. And that causes the miscarriage. So I kind of like that idea of that, and this card to me kind of does confirm that this child that I was first pregnant with, for his own reasons, decided not to go forward. Maybe it was selfish desires on his part, or, kind of self-indulgence, but it was definitely his choice that he decided not to move forward with his life right as the time was, and that more things needed. He wanted to tweak on more things for his life path, right? So that's what I take this card to mean. Now the next card that we've got, this one here talks about the karma you collected. And for this card, we've got the Earth Mother. Now, the Earth Mother's plant is the wheat, which talks about wealth, fertility, and good fortune. The animals is the duck. There's lots of ducks in there, and it talks about abundance, prosperity, and fertility. Um, this is the mother card, right? Like this is the Earth Mother. After I was pregnant there, I became a mother. Regardless that I had this child or not, I had screamed or announced my pregnancy to the world. I was a mom from then on, even though that this kid hadn't come to be. And I kind of see that was my shift, like I became a mom that day, and remained a mom afterwards, even though I hadn't had a kid right away with him. And I did right away afterwards, but this is what I kind of take this card to mean. Now, the next card that we've got, and this one here talks about how I did, and we have the High Priestess. So the High Priestess plant is a acacia flower, which talks about consecration, psychic powers, consecration and psychic powers. And then the animals, the black cat, which talks about focus, magic, and psychic powers. So this card talks about trusting your intuition, your insight, maybe secrets being revealed, keeping a confident, psychic dreams. Actually, I thought that was hilarious. Right in the thing, this talks about this psychic dream, and because this reading is following a dream that I think was a little bit more than just a dream, this is a great card to see in this spread for that. So I do think that I connected with that child's soul. The next card talks about how the deceased sees me now. And for this card, we've got the Knight of Pentacle. So with this card here, the plant was the peonies, which talks about business and opportunity, and the animals was the falcon, which talks about loyalty, security, and communication. Now, I found this to be very interesting because this dream took place in a setting of my work, which is what I'm doing now. I took a pretty big shift and redirection career path-wise. I'm definitely following a more business-like entrepreneurial path than I used to before. And this card talks about that. Now, when I see the royals, I always see this representing somebody. So I think this card represents me. So this is how the soul is seeing me. And this is the Knight, right? So it's high energy, still a lot of enthusiasm, very, a lot of excitement towards this path, but because this is the Pentacle, it's kind of in the career path, right? So definitely I could see this card representing me because, I'm still in that Knight. I'm not quite a page anymore where, I'm not just at my brand new beginning, but this is a fairly newer path for me, and I'm starting to kind of climb on this path. Things are coming together and setting themselves up, right? And this is a great card that would represent that. It's a big part of my life, and the fact that the dream took place in that kind of setting, I think that card fits very well for that. Now the next card that we have, and this card is How They Did. And for this card we get the Two of a Themes. Now the Two of a Things, the plant associated with this is the pennyroyal, which talks about inner calm, peace, and healing. And then the animal that we have is the starling, which talks about communication, strength, and peace. So I kind of really like to see this card in how he did, because it's kind of telling me he's completely comfortable and happy and at peace with the decision that he did for not going forward with his life, and that he's at calm. He's calm, he's at peace, he's content, and he's just taking this opportunity to communicate and connect, right? Now the next card that we have, and this card talks about what is left to transform. And for this card, we've got the Six of Chalice. So the plant associated with this one is the marjoram, which talks about happy memories, comfort, connection, and family. And then the plant that's associated here is the canary, which talks about companionship, happiness, and harmony. So what is left to transform is happy memories. And I'm really grateful about this dream, because when you have a miscarriage, you really haven't got to build so much memories. It was just the dreams and the hopes and expectation that you were kind of visualizing when you first find out you're pregnant, but none of that came to be. And this dream to me is a wonderful, wonderful gift. And it's almost, I feel like I've fallen in love with this child all over again. And this card is a great card that kind of represents that, right? It's two children holding hands, walking side by side. It's just such an harmonious image. You know, so, and then the last card that we have is what gift you get to keep. And for this card, I got the 10 of Chalice. So again, Chalice still has to do with emotion. The plant associated with this one is aster, which talks about unconditional love, happiness, and calm. And the animal is the otter, which talks about happiness, fidelity, and joy. So the gift I get to keep is this family love. You know, the love is still there, and the love is so strong. And that's something that I know I get to keep, and I don't have to question. I know that it's there. And I have a joyous family life, and I love my children, and I love my husband, and we're a very united family. And this dream just kind of reconfirmed for me that, you know, there's another soul in there that's joyful all along with us too, and then kind of watching us and share our joys. And that is a wonderful gift I get to keep. So this was my reading regarding the dream that I had. I found it to be very interesting, and I'm very grateful that I had this dream. Have a blessed day.